again. It's time to talk about the issues at hand. You say what you say, say what you say, just say what you feel. It's the door, and we're gonna keep it real. It's an open conversation. It's an open conversation.
Yeah, so as I was saying before
We just came back from a commercial.
Yes, we did.
Acknowledge the fact that we just came back from a commercial.
And we're back from commercial break.
We didn't go nowhere.
Fall for this every
He's
time.
getting on my nerves.
But
Anyway,
you fall for it.
as I was saying before we went to commercial break, what I just recently put up on Facebook, I had a picture up with my daughter because she had
Yeah.
a coming out thing at her church where she received her first pearls and things of that nature.
It's called
And
coming out.
whatever it's called, this is what happened.
I just said it.
And I put on there, I'm putting everybody on notice, guys as well as chicks, sniff around mine,
gotta.
and it's going to be a problem.
Let's
Cut
see
and
that.
dry. Not taking nothing short, I will go to jail for mine. So you can sniff if you want, it's going to be a problem. Now we're going to take questions to the audience.
He didn't even.
Hey! Don't mess with his. It's
Don't
gonna be a
please
problem.
put her
Hey.
picture down at the bottom. Let her just scroll off the
Right.
screen.
Put her on the milk carton, even though she ain't missing.
I know.
Just so you know, don't mess with his.
Well, you gonna come up missing. You need to go
Or
to.
at least, you
You need to go with.
Okay, now we're going to take questions from the audience.
Okay.
All right, we have one hand raised right now. May I have your name, please? Cavette. This is Cavette.
Cavette used to be a host with us.
No. Oh, that's you.
Yes. In the very beginning.
My question is, what do you guys think is the problem with the children that have parents that are doing the good parenting?
They just want
The
to be
parents that they're in two-parent households and the children are being raised, like Marvin raised his son, like him and his wife raised their children, and some kind of way the children still slip through the cracks.
What happened?
Because they want to be hardheads. They want to follow the clique, so to speak.
I think a lot of it has to do with peer pressure and wanting to be cool and wanting to be hip, or you're afraid to say no. I don't want to smoke that weed. It's a lot of peer pressure. Where we were growing up, I don't know. My mentality has always been like, I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. I'm going to do me. I'm still that way today because that's what my examples were. I'm not saying I was perfect, but I just, if I didn't want to do it, I wasn't doing it. But today it's more bullying going on. Where kids are committing suicide because they're being bullied, not just physically, like to your face. Now you got cyberbullying, so it's hard, and it's not always the parents because, like she's saying, if you have a two-parent household. Some kids, there's a lot of outside influence out there. It's a lot.
But I think the problem is that parents don't spend time with their kids. Now let me say this before we all turn it up. Get a little panties in a bunch. Spending time with your kids is not being in the same house. He's upstairs, you're downstairs. That's not called spending time with your kids. That spending time with your child means just that. You and your child. A lot of these two-parent households think that because we're in the house, I'm spending time with you. No, because if you make your livelihood seem interesting to your child, 9 times out of 10, they will follow your footsteps and want to emulate you. So if he sees dad get up and go to work, did y'all see that assault?
I did. That wasn't.
No, you know why? Because in the first
I got a restraining order. I got a restraining order.
in the first season,
Touch me. Restraining order. See,
in the first
season, need to know.
did you not?
Your daddy punching kids.
In the
You see him
first
punch me?
season, did you not hop on my case when I said and when I chose that I spent time with mine every Friday night we had a family meeting. Me and my daughters
A
would sit down.
meeting?
Yes.
Rewind that tape.
We will. We will.
Bring the
I
tape.
said every Friday we would sit down and we would have a meeting and discuss what was going on in everyone's life.
Who has meetings with their kids?
That big
That
problem.
pick cotton.
Where to spend the time?
Meeting, family meeting.
Okay, swing
Are
low.
we having Domino's or Pizza Hut? Meeting.
I don't think it's anything wrong with that, but
A meeting?
Demetrius, a question from the audience.
Hi, my name's Yvonne. So the question I have is regarding accountability. So we talk about parents and what they're not doing. Where's the accountability when it comes to parents and their schooling? A lot of people talk about, well, the school is where your child's supposed to go to get an education. But if you're not teaching your children and being accountable when they come home to do their homework, to do their projects, to do their things with them, so where's the accountability for the parents? I know where I grew up at, I mean, I came straight from North Philly, but my parents took us to South Jersey. In South Jersey, if you don't do what you're supposed to do in school, your parents get caught up in the court system. They're the ones who get held accountable for what you're not doing. So if you want to see your mom sitting in jail, or your dad sitting in jail, that's really what it comes down to. So what happens in the school systems over here that are any different? I mean, I think that if these parents would do what they're supposed to do here, and they really do bring them up on those charges, I think a lot less would be going on with these kids.
And I can agree with that, and at the same time, I'll say this. If more parents got involved with what was going on in the school system in Philadelphia, then maybe we wouldn't have the structure of the school breaking down the way that it's breaking down. Most of our schools, a lot of people don't understand this, most of our schools are overcrowded. They're not building new schools, but they're building new prisons. Now ask yourself, what is the color uniform that our kids are wearing? It's a light blue shirt and dark blue pants. What is the color that the inmates wear in prison? Light blue and dark blue pants. They're setting your kids up for failure, setting them up to go to prison.
But it's the difference is, the situation, it's a twofold situation. Accountability, yes. We just had an incident where a teacher was brutally beaten by a student. News camera went to the father's house. The father blamed everybody but his son. So accountability in that household is done.
Yeah.
The uniform thing makes sense when you're inside the system and outside the system. Me being a parent of so many, you send your kids to school, some of these parents was out here breaking their necks trying to keep their kids up with the junk. You don't want your child teased. So you over here, yo, I need the latest jeans, I need the latest this, and they teasing me in school. You don't want, nobody wants their child to be teased.
Correct.
So you do go above and beyond. You might stretch that gas money and spend it a little bit. You might spend your extra hairdresser money, whatever, just to keep your child up. So, the uniform, there were a group of kids in a neighborhood school, Philadelphia, who were terrorizing the city of Philadelphia.
Right.
Just going, groups of them were going to different schools and just beating these kids down. How do you identify? So the way in which we could narrow our search down is by the clothes in which they wear. This kid had on red shirt, tan khakis. So we look at the system and see what schools had red pants, tan khakis, and then if that child was assaulted, we could go to that school and say, the kids were assaulted downtown at the gallery. They said the kids had on a uniform, red shirt, tan khakis, and they would go through the fold. And this way you could narrow it down to at least find the kid, at least the school, the kid. You had some idea. But when they weren't wearing uniforms, who knew who it was?
See, I don't disagree with wearing a uniform. I disagree with the color.
It's not, but you can't get tied up
that
on
wasn't her
color. That's
I know
not
that
it.
wasn't her
She-
question,
She was
but
asking about accountability.
I understand
How do
that.
we?
I understand
How do
that.
we hold these kids accountable? We have to, just like she said, we have to hold those parents accountable. You're absolutely right. When they told me that my son was gonna have to go to court for what you call it, for truancy, yeah, it was either me or you. I beat him down. Next.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Ignacio Russell, and my question towards actually coming out of Brooklyn, New York, and living in Philly for 9 years and seeing the difference in the system, the school system, and having a 21-year-old that's actually been in the juvenile system. And the peer pressure is one of the problems that us as parents that work. At the time I was a manager of a store, and I spent more time in the school than at the job. But everybody is pointing finger at the system, but it's still the parents to make the kids do what they're supposed to do. And it's not the uniform. It goes right back to the parents holding. My mother did it with 9 of us, and neither one of us stepped out of place. Coming from a third world country, we didn't have that choice to step out of place either, because we never had. I was barefooted. You would never know. We didn't know what we was going to eat. I never picked cotton, but I picked cocoa. Okay? So pretty much it's a different slavery mentality with the Spaniards, and, you know, coming here and seeing the racism, and that's another downfall for our black child, because racism still exists in this time of this century that we live in today, which we shouldn't even have. Because as far as I see, if we don't step up as parents and tell our kids and educate our kids, as the young lady said in Jersey, it takes us to educate them in order for them to know the difference before they even go into the system, knowing something, instead of putting the kids in the teacher's hand, and the teacher don't know nothing herself. And that's the problem we got.
Okay. But that's one thing, you will not be blessing Thanksgiving dinner. You won't be the one. He just gave a whole benediction. Okay? I didn't even get the question.
Got one.
What do you do when you have, well, it was an incident where my grandson got a bad report card, and my daughter beat him. And next thing we know, we have people knocking on the door and telling them they're going to take him and all the rest of it. And I tell you what, ever since they started with that nonsense, he's been worse, because he felt like he had the leeway to cut up now, because he felt like his mother couldn't beat him because he was a reporter.
The problem was is you answered the door. Don't answer it. Should have looked at that peephole and seen that VHS tag.
And I feel like that they interfere in areas that they don't need to interfere with, because they're not home with our children.
Exactly.
And they don't know what it takes to raise them. And they don't know what it takes to raise that particular child. Only a mother knows that. A mother knows whether this one just needs a talking to, or this one needs to be knocked on their backside in order for them to do what they're supposed to do. Only time I feel like they need to intervene is if that child comes in busted up with a bruised face or a cut head open or stitches or something like that, then step in and talk about it.
Right.
But when we're trying to correct them for what they're doing wrong, you need to stay off my doorstep, stay away from me, and let me rear my children like they need to be reared, because they don't have the fear, because they don't get that beating or that spanking that we used to get, and all of us in here know we used to get those beatings. And it did not hurt us, and there were less of us in the system. And let me tell you something, my mother was a head correctional officer. Matter of fact, she was the captain of the disciplinary board on this prison system, and my father was a police officer. And let me tell you something, you did not play with Dolores Sanders, okay? And these kids need to know not to play with us, and maybe they can learn something. Stay off.
And I happen to agree with you. We want to take it to commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap this up. Open conversation isn't just about us, the hosts. When Mark came up with this concept was a concept for us to reach out to people, for people to have an outlet to discuss whatever's going on in your life, things that people don't talk about on TV. We like to have regular conversations with regular people. There's no experts here. So everybody's opinion is validated, okay? And we like to try to give back as much as we can. That's why we are so into the post. That's why you'll constantly see me on there trying to help individuals. So far, Open Conversation has been able to I actually talked the lady down who was ready to commit suicide. So I was able to talk her down. We were able to help other individuals who were in relationships, who were being abused and things of this nature, help them get some help and help them get out of that situation that they were in. And we also like to have fun. But I say that to present this little gift to Mr. Eric Perry because he was the first one to buy his tickets. And because he was the first one to buy his tickets, he gets this gift from us. Thank you. No problem.
When I'm alone, your name just rings a bell. You made me want to leave it, sneaking wherever you are, yeah. 'Cause I'm in love with you, girl. You the key to my heart. Girl, you are the one I've been looking for. Looking for, yeah. You are the
And we back.
We didn't go nowhere.
So just to address what the lady was saying, it does start in the house. You do need to be able to chastise your kids when you need to be able to chastise without anyone interfering. I will knock the hell out of mine.
Your mama here.
Can we get a question from the audience?
Wait,
I said hell.
Question from the audience, excuse me. Let me come over here. I'm sorry, I have to reach over a few feet, people.
Shout out to Philly Housewives.
May I have your name, sir?
Yeah, Philly Housewives in the house, sitting right there in the front.
Housewives in the front.
Yeah.
Any question?
Welcome. Thanks for coming out.
May I have your name, sir?
Let me tell you, one of
My name is Kevin Johnson.
Oh my
We have a question from Mr. Kevin Johnson.
Go ahead, Kev.
Given the topic of discussion, I'm trying to figure out, does the panel think that technology has displaced a whole lot of parenting skills?
Yeah.
Because there is a rule of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And so much has been garnered about the iPhone, the Android, the iPad, whatever. I would like to know, what's your thought process about how do you discipline when it comes to technology? And how do you relate when it comes to technology or the lack of? Because some people don't have it and they still having problems.
That's true. Now let's say this. When we grew up, and the audience member by a round of applause, because y'all can hear it. How many parents said, be in the house before the street light comes on? Now, that was no technology. We honored that. Now, parents talk to their kids in the other room
On a
over
cell
text
phone.
message.
Yeah.
Or call you on a text message. What did your mother say? And if you hear me and feel me, round of applause. When I call you, come to me and see what I want. The kids is down the hall talking about, huh? You call me? No, come to my voice. The difference is the parents, our parents, the discipline was there.
Right.
No technology needed. Parents done got lazy. I was the remote control in my house.
Yup.
I don't care where I was. Come here. Turn the TV channel 10. I was the remote control. She didn't care what I was doing. I could have been next door. She called a neighbor and say, send Doc home. Yes, Mom, you wanted me? Turn TV channel 6. Lowry number finna come on.
Or go get me a glass of water.
Go get me a glass
Go
of
get
water.
me something to
Yup.
drink.
You're like, just sitting right there on the couch.
And then she don't care. You better think it, don't say it.
But you know what though?
Text
Back
her.
then, it was a respect, it was a fear that you had, like, but it started from respect because everybody in your neighborhood, you know, if you did something around the corner, the neighbor could beat you. Then when you got home, you know, Tony said it earlier, you got another beat. Like, it took that whole village to raise this child.
We're talking
Like,
about
but
how the
nowadays-
technology has gotten involved.
Wait a minute, I know.
Evolutionized it.
We didn't have,
What?
you
I
know,
will beat you
computers
with a
and all
pad.
that.
You on the computer.
The iPad.
I will beat you with the iPad. Your mother ain't never beat you with your brother? You ever got a beating with your brother? My mom beat me with my brother. Man, you figure that one out. Man, you figure that out.
We got another question? No other question?
No flip phone. Flip phone.
Well, look,
We had,
the bottom,
remember when you could be on the phone?
What's up, Kev?
Remember you could be on the phone
yeah,
and you only had a one-way line
yeah.
and your phone was busy? And then you thought you was cute because you got a little older. And then you did emergency breakthrough. And your mama saw that $1.25 on your bill. And she beat you like you stole something. Because remember, the operator had to say whatever you said when you called into that emergency breakthrough. When your mama called and she had to break through the line because she was at work all night, she wanted to call you and tell you to take the meat out and do something that she wanted to record something. And you couldn't get through. And then all of a sudden, they beat through, and then this the operator, your mother said, clear the line. You're like, you hurry up, put it down. You didn't even say body your
No,
face.
just put it down.
She ring up, wait a minute,
All right, I gotta tell you one more question.
Do we got another question? I don't think we did. Or you wanted to use the phone.
Right.
You'd be like, Mom, can I use the phone?
Old people.
I'm not done yet. When I
never
get done.
asked my mother to use. What kind of child was you? You didn't ask my mom. I could ask. No, you couldn't ask.
I could ask.
You used the phone when she got a.
Can I use the phone?
Ask your mother, could you use the phone when she on it?
I was spoiled. Don't ask me.
Oh, you.
I didn't say I got the phone. I said I could
I
ask.
didn't even ask.
Because I would get that look. Like,
Well, my mom.
But I'm gonna say this, and then we do gotta wrap this up with the phone thing. We had a two-way, but don't let you be on the phone and you don't click over.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody say,
Yeah.
"I called you, but no."
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That was your
That
behind.
was-
You don't give your
that-
mother a
You ain't click
message.
on my, or you won't get him at yeah.
She be like, anybody call me? You like, no. And then Sally comes through the door. I called you about 10 minutes ago. Oh.
Yeah.
You might as well go to your room for what? Time out.
So to end and wrap this show, you know, it's definitely a difference in the way kids are raised today. If you can say the word raised, we were raised. We were raised. Today they just
Breed them.
there you go.
Yeah, they do whatever.
There you go.
They do whatever. They do whatever. And it's what the parents or non-parenting allow them to do, because mine know. All of my kids have a middle name. If I call you by your middle name, we got a problem. And they know. They need to check themselves because I just called you by your middle name. And I need to stop what I'm doing because Dad called. Simple as that. If your kid, it's not that they have to be scared of you, if they respect you.
No, they got to fear.
No, you don't have to fear me.
My house is
respect me, and then we won't have no problems. Like my daughters know. If they standing on the corner and somebody's talking to them, and I'll come up, they will tell the dude, you need to walk away, because my dad just popped
That's
up.
fear. That's fear.
Whatever.
That ain't respect.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out. We're going to wrap this up. This has been another open conversation with all of the hosts here. My girl Liz, Mr. Lane,
Creflo Dollar.
Harriet Tubman. So we're going to wrap this up. We want to thank you all for coming out. This has been another episode of Open Conversation. Peace.
If a man needs you to do something, if he needs you to do something in the marriage, like pay the bill, pay the rent, do this, then y'all don't need that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for instance, if we go and look at a four-bedroom house, if his income can't pay for everything in that house, then y'all need
Back together again.
a man is a provider.
Talk about
He's supposed to provide, and all of my income is just.
you say what you say, say what you say. Just say what you feel. It's a door, and we're gonna keep it real. It's an open conversation. It's an open conversation. It's an open